So the lesson we're going to be learning today is solving multi-step equations. And our objective is I can find the value of an unknown variable. And so I gave you the warm-up on Monday that asked, what is an equation? And I wanted to just have a chance to see what your responses were, just see what you know. So what is an equation? Here are your responses. So I'm going to go through and read some of the responses that you all posted. An equation is a statement that the values of two math expressions, a math problem ending in equals, a mathematical problem, a statement with an equal with both sides equivalent to each other, when the values of two numbers are equal to another number, a mathematical question meant to be solved, mathematical sentence that has two equal sides with an equal sign in between, equal symbol between two algebraic expressions that have the same value, is something you're trying to find the answer to. An equation is two equal sides separated by an equal sign, a mathematic statement. And notice the examples to your responses. 3x minus 5y equals 1x plus 1. 9x plus 5 equals 1 plus 12 equals 13. 4 plus 5 equals 9. 23 times 8 equals 2 plus 2 equals 4. 6 over 2, or 6 divided by 2, times 1 plus 2. 12 plus 15 plus 3 equals 30. 5 plus 10 equals 15. On the left side is 5 plus 10, and on the right side of the equal sign is 15. 2x minus 4y equals 2y plus 1. So the question at the top says, does your example match your response? Well, we have to go back to the definition. What is an equation? So, did you answer the question correctly? That's the first problem that we've got to address. And as I'm reading these definitions, I really don't see any wrong answers. The first one, a statement that the values of two math expressions. I like that. A math problem ending in an equals. I like that. A mathematical problem. I like that. A math statement, a math problem, those are about the same. But yeah, I like all those. An equation is two equal sides separated by an equal sign. I like these responses. So notice how we've got some vocabulary words thrown in here that it doesn't do you any good to answer if you don't know what it means. So notice how you see the word expressions. An equal symbol between two algebraic expressions. So what the heck is an algebraic expression? So in your attendance check from Tuesday, I asked, what is an expression? And then give an example. So some of your responses are, an expression is a sentence with a minimum of two numbers and at least one math operation. A sentence with at least two numbers and one operation. Now, I'm not sure. And that's okay. You're allowed to be honest. I want you to be honest. An expression has a minimum of two numbers and at least one math operation. An expression is something with symbols in it like plus or times. Numbers, symbols, operations meaning plus or times put together to show the value of something. An expression can have any symbol or number as long as it is solvable. So, going back to the definition of equation and expression. So when we take an equation, or we take what we wrote about the definition of an equation, I like this one right here. An equal symbol between two algebraic expressions that have the same value. I really like that definition because it does hit basically everything here. So an equation is a mathematical statement. It is going to contain two expressions. And most importantly, an equation will always have an equals. So notice in these examples here how a lot of these have the equals, but like for this one, if I took off the equals, is that still an equation? You see, could I write this 3x minus 5y equals? Could I write that without an equals? 9x plus 5 equals? Could I just leave it as 9x plus 5? Is it still an equation? So out of all of these examples here, which one most fits the definition of an equals? Well, notice how we said it is between two expressions and it has to have an equals. Well, if you look at this last one here, okay, 2x minus 4 equals 2y plus 1. Well, notice how we have two expressions separated by an equals. So out of the examples we saw here, notice how some of these examples of an expression were also very similar to the examples that you had of an equation. So are they the same? And the answer is no. An expression and an equation, they're not the same. But you need to know what an expression is in order to define an equation. So list the similarities between an equation and an expression. They both have operations and numbers, and that's very, very true. They both contain expressions. Well, an expression, you need an expression for an equation. An equation is an expression, both have numbers that will equal something. Okay, so again, you need an expression in order to define an equation. Both can be solved. Both can contain numbers. Both can be divided, multiplied, added, or subtracted. So this last definition here is partially true. They both contain numbers. They also contain operations like division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. They can contain variables like we have up here in this definition. However, the biggest difference, this is a difference and not a similarity. One of them can be solved and one of them cannot be solved. So let's take a look. Is there a difference between an equation and an expression? And the answer is yes. I have this question here that says, which line is different and why? So out of all four of these lines, which one stands out to be the most different? Well, hopefully you saw that it's this fourth line here is the difference. You see, notice the top three lines each have what I might call a variable. You see, the top line has an apple plus an apple plus an apple equals 30. Are you given enough information there to know what the value of an apple is? The second line has an apple plus 2 chunks of bananas equals 18. Are you given enough information there to find our unknown? Well, to answer the question, to answer this one, you got to read this line up here. You see, you have to use this one to know what the value of an apple is. Because in this question, notice how I have two unknowns, an apple and a banana. And so then in the last one, or the third one, bananas minus the coconuts equals 2. So these top three lines here represent an equation, whereas this bottom line represents an expression. You see, if all I had was this fourth line and nothing above it, there's no way I could answer this. Now, let's talk about the fact that, did we get that question right? You see, I love this question. I love this. I have this as a poster in my classroom. And so many times students just sit there and stare at it when they tune me out and decide, oh, hey, I'm tired of listening to Ms. Green. And they want to solve the poster and they like to answer the question. They'll often ask me, did I get it right? And the truth is, the first time I saw it, I missed it too. So just for fun, let's talk about what the answer is. So hopefully all of you said the value of an apple is what? Well, an apple plus an apple plus an apple equals 30. This is an expression. And I can simplify this expression to say 3 apples equals 30. 30 divided by 3 is 10. So the value of the apple is 10. So now if I know this value is 10, 10 plus this chunk of bananas plus this chunk of bananas is 18. So if I take the 10 away from the 18, then that leaves me with 8. So each chunk of bananas, so this chunk plus this chunk is 8. 8 divided by 2 leaves me with 4. Okay, so now this chunk of bananas has a value of 4. So 4 minus the coconuts equals 2. Okay, well, if I go over here and 4 take away what is 2? Well, 4 take away 2 is 2. So what that means is the value of the coconuts is 2. So 2 plus 10 plus 4 is 16. Is that the answer? Well, that's what I said when I first answered it. But you gotta really look closely. You see, notice how we don't have 2 coconuts, we have 1. Up here we have 2, which means each coconut alone has a value of 1. The apple is still 10, but also notice that the bananas up here, we have 4 bananas in each bundle. But notice how we have 3 bananas. So if 2 bundles of bananas is 8, which means 1 bundle is 4, that means each banana has a value of 1. So 1 plus 10 plus 3 is 14. But again, there's no way I could have answered this last question because it's an expression and there was nothing over here on this side. I had to know what was going on above. So now that we've answered the questions from the riddle that I gave you, let's dive into the lesson. So what does it mean to solve an equation? Well, again, like we said before, in this lesson, we're trying to find the value of the unknown or the value of the variable. And in this case, my variable is the apple. The value of the apple is 10.